Hello everyone and welcome to our virtual community kitchen. Today we are making oven chicken with sides, but before we begin, let's smudge. Okay, let's begin. So these are the ingredients we will be using today. We have chicken, potatoes, carrots, Italian parsley, garlic powder, Montreal steak spice, all seasoning powder, salt and pepper to taste, and oil. Okay, so as you can see, I have all our ingredients here. Now what we're going to do, first thing is deal with the chicken because that's the thing that takes the longest to cook. I've taken the liberty to already preheat my oven at 425. We want to get it nice and hot so when we put in the chicken, it goes right to cooking. So what I like to do today, I have chicken thighs. Now this dish could also be done with any part of the chicken. You could have a whole chicken, cook it whole, or cut it up, or use the leg and thigh. I personally enjoy this dish with brown meat, so a leg and a thigh. It gives it a lot of juice, obviously, being the darker meat, it's much more juicy and just has a little bit more fat in it. Okay, so what I like to do first and foremost, you are more than welcome to keep the skin on, but I like to take it off. So I'm going to start peeling it. And then after this, I'm going to give it a little rinse. So for my household, we eat some chicken, but we don't eat a lot. So I will not be making a lot. So for my family of 3, we have 6 pieces of chicken. And that will be very nice for us because if we want to have seconds, then we get to have the other little piece. Or also too, you could have it for leftovers and you can make it into a sandwich. The chicken sandwiches are always great. One of the things that I really appreciate in the kitchen are scissors. They really help. So for a job like this, cutting off the fat is really helpful. It's a fast process. A little bit of fat is not, it's tasty. It brings out the flavor in the spice of the spices, but we don't want a lot of it either. Yeah, so I find the scissors are very, very helpful. You don't have to use the cutting board at this stage and then wash it again. So, I'm liking how this is looking. So in regards to washing the chicken, there's many different ways that people wash their chicken. Some people just run it under nice cold water and then add their seasoning. Some people add salt and vinegar. And I know that doesn't kill all the bacteria, but I've been doing that for so long that it's hard to break away from that habit. Yeah, So to each his own in that way. Okay, so now that I've taken all the fat off, now I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of salt. So here I go in with my salt, just a little bit, not a lot. And now a little bit of the vinegar. Once again, a little bit, not a lot. Mix that up. And usually I do this over the sink. This is just so I can show you. Okay. Nice. And this is where I get to pick a little bit of the fat if I don't want it there. And it's easy to come off at this stage. Very nice. So now I'm going to rinse it about 3 times just to make sure that all the salt is gone in the vinegar as well. Okay, now that we have our chicken all cleaned and washed, now we're going to season it. So what we're going to do is add the minced garlic with the all-purpose seasoning. So let's get started. Here I have my garlic. Give it a nice bang. If you have a garlic press, this is a good time to use it. But if you don't, that's okay. You can just mince it with a knife. That just works just as well. Okay, so we have our garlic ready. We're going to put that right into the bowl here. And now we're going to add our all-purpose seasoning. And what I really like about this all-purpose seasoning is that it's good for fish, it's good for meat, it's good for vegetables, you name it. It's really good. So if let's just say you're a beginner in the kitchen, this is a great spice to have because it kind of turns you into a really good cook. And so I just want to show you this one. So it's the all-purpose seasoning. So this kind of makes you a little bit famous in the kitchen. So it doesn't hurt to buy. And it's actually quite affordable. It ranges anywhere from $3.50 to $5, somewhere there, depending if it's on sale or not. So okay, so here we go with the all-purpose seasoning. So we have the garlic. Here we go. We're going to toss that in. And now we're going to use our hands again. One thing about this is that it's super easy. There's not a lot of fuss, but you have to constantly be washing your hands because you're dealing with the chicken. So, and we don't want to spread germs around the kitchen. So here we go. This is where you don't get shy. You go with your hands and you massage it in beautifully. Oh yes. So as you can see here, it's looking really nice. Yes. So I'm going to add that into my parchment lined baking pan. And that's just going to sit there for a moment. Once again, I'm going to wash my hands. So the next step now is to cut up our potatoes, and nicely cubed. Doesn't really matter what size. You can cut them in any shape that you want. For today, how I'm going to cut them is cubed. So, and I suggested you do quite a bit because this is going to be a hot item and people are going to gravitate towards these. And the younger ones may want it with ketchup, and because ketchup and potatoes, I think it's like peanut butter and jam. It just goes together really well. And but what we are going to be adding to it a little bit later on, once the dish is done, we're going to be putting right on top an oil of parsley that is infused with garlic, and it's going to be a little bit salty as well. So, but you're always more than welcome to add ketchup to yours too. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to cut them into cubes. And it doesn't really matter because if some of them are a little bit smaller than others, because the small ones end up being really crunchy while the other ones are a little bit softer, the larger ones. So it's up to you how you cut them. You could cut them lengthwise. Anything goes really with potatoes. Okay, so I believe this is enough for the family, and I do not think we'll have leftovers with this one. So let's start preparing them, and you'll see how easy this dish is. Honestly, I think this is one of the easiest dishes that I have made in Community Kitchen. There's really no fuss here. There's just a little bit of washing, a little bit of cutting. Everything is done in the oven. There's no stove top today. I just love this dish. I really do. Okay, so we are going to add, so once again we have parchment paper on this one as well. And we're going to remember to season and leave a little bit on the side, just with a little bit of salt for the younger ones, because to this dish, we're going to be, to the potatoes, we're going to be adding Montreal steak spice. And for the little ones, that may be a little bit too spicy. So on one side, we're going to leave it with just a little bit of salt for the little ones. Okay, so here we go. Just adding them here. Okay, I think that's enough. Doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to get my, there's my oil. So oil on both sides, just a little squirt. Very nice. And now the Montreal steak spice on this side. Excellent. And now we're going to just put a little bit of salt on this side. This is for the little ones. That's good enough. So I'm going to massage this part here. We want to get them all nice and coated with the salt. So we're going to remember that this side is for the little ones. And this side here is more for when your palate can take just a little bit more spice. And they're looking great already. And I think I just want a little bit more Montreal steak spice. Okay. Nice. As you can see here, we're building something good here, guys. Okay. So, I'm going to wash my hands again. Okay, so our oven is ready. So what I'm going to put in first is the chicken. Once I put the chicken after 20 minutes, then I'm going to add the potatoes because I want them done, everything done around the same time. Is it going to happen exactly to the T where everything is done at one time? No. We're not shooting for perfection here. So the potatoes are going to go in 20 minutes after, and then the carrots are going to go in 15 or 20 minutes after as well, because the carrots will take very, very little time to cook. And we kind of still want them a little bit crunchy. So let's put the chicken inside. 1 down, 2 to go. Okay, so here we go with our carrots. So we're gonna peel them. Okay, so we're finished peeling the carrots, so now I'm going to cut them. So this is the way I cut them, and of course you can cut them any way you like. I kind of like them lengthwise. Yeah, it just looks nice to me, and it just is the way I prefer it. So I usually cut the carrot in half, and then I place them flat like that. They become more stable and more easy to cut. So here we go. Now, this is my favorite way to have carrots. I prefer them over them being raw even. But if you don't fancy carrots very much, you could also do the same, prepare cauliflower in the same way with this dish. Also, Brussels sprouts work really well, just cutting them in half. Oh, they're so wonderful. So, but for today, we are doing carrots, but you make your dish your own in the way that you like it, in the way that your family likes it as well. Now that we have cut all our carrots, it's time to kind of mix it up and just prepare them on the pan. So let's do that. So once again, this lined parchment paper lining the pan, it just makes cleanup super fast. We're not scrubbing, we're not wasting food that's stuck on the pan. This is amazing. So we're going to just add them here. Nicely separated. Excellent. We're going to put a little bit of oil here. And when I have the carrots like this, it just kind of reminds me of sweet potato fries, just a little bit. Okay, so here we are with the garlic powder. We're going to put that there. And now, once again, we mix that all out. The oil and the garlic. Gonna get all mixed up. Oh, so good. Wash my hands again. In addition to the garlic powder, I just want to add 1 clove of fresh garlic just to give it a little bit more pizzazz to the carrots. So I'm going to get my garlic press. I just find this so convenient. And now mix that in. Oh, so good. So good. Now we're going to be moving on to making the garlicky oil with our parsley. And this is going to be drizzled on the top at the end once we plate the dish. And you're more than welcome just to add just a little bit of extra salt in order to make it really, really nice. Now we want this to be a little bit salty because we're not going to be adding a lot. And you're going to have some leftovers that you could leave in the fridge and then later on put in a nice sandwich with some beautiful bread like a baguette. So delicious. But let's get that started. So we're going to use actually even the little bit of the stem. We're not worried or concerned about that. We are just going to break it up a little bit. Put that in here. Oh, and the smell is divine. Divine. Love the smell. We're going to add our garlic. We're going to add our oil. And it's nice if you have a little jar that you've used in the past, for example, a little one of that maybe came with jam and that you could use it again like that. It has a lid and it's not, if it just tilts, it's not going to make a mess in your fridge. So far we have our parsley, our garlic, and our oil, and now we're going to add some salt. Salt is very important with this, and quite a bit actually. Okay, and if you like a little bit of pepper, if you have it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Okay, so we may just add just a little bit more oil. Okay, so here we go. Add this. Okay, so now it's the moment of truth. Let's try it and see if it's salty enough or is it garlicky enough. What do we need? Delicious. So it's been about 20 minutes since the chicken has gone in. So now I'm going to put in the potatoes. The chicken is looking great. It's starting to bubble at the bottom. So things are moving as they should. So I'm going to continue with my cleaning, and then shortly after that, we're going to put it in the carrots. So I'm going to clean up now. Okay, so while we're waiting for our food, we still have to put in our carrots, but we still have a little bit more time. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the immunizing your children. So with your kit, you will be receiving this here, which is the Ontario's Routine Immunization Schedule. And it tells you at each stage of your child's development when they should be getting their needles and what these needles are for. Very often as parents, because we're not doctors, we just go along with what our doctor says, or we have a certain amount of information and we just go off that. And so this schedule gives you an understanding of times within your child's life when they ought to get vaccinated, and also for what. So there are many things that your child is getting vaccinated for, and it breaks it down for you. So a child 2 and 4 months, 6 months, 12 months, 15 months, 18 months, 4 to 6 years, and so on, grade 7, and even adulthood. What are some of the vaccines that adults get? So this is, in my opinion, a very, very good read. Some of the diseases that they talk about do sound a little bit scary, but it is realistic. Unfortunately, I've met some people that have some of these conditions, and medical care was intervened at a later stage, and unfortunately live with some of the effects of the disease. So immunization is done in order to strengthen your child's immune system and live a happy, healthy lifestyle. So please, I hope you read this and you find this a wealth of information as much as I did. So with that said, let's get back to our recipe. I'm going to check on the oven, and maybe the chicken needs to be turned over. So I'm gonna go check it. So I've just turned the chicken over just to make sure that it cooks evenly on both sides. But I will be turning it back over just to also give it moisture on both sides. Okay, so while we're waiting for the food, I just want to let you know that we're on 3 different platforms. We're on Instagram at nativechild_early years. We're also on Facebook, NCFST, Aboriginal Early Childhood Development Unit, and we're also on YouTube, Native Child and Family Services of Toronto. So I'll bring that up just so you can see. And I just want to point out that we not only just post our virtual community kitchen, we also have other programming there that you might be interested in and you may want to register for. So please keep on checking on these platforms in order to stay current and see what is happening. So with that said, let's get back to our recipe. So I have just checked on the food and especially the chicken, because now that it's at the bottom and we are baking, the heat is coming from the bottom and we don't want it to burn at the bottom. So I flipped them over again and I've added just a little bit of water in order to give it moisture and also not get burnt a little bit at the bottom. So with that said, it's still cooking, it's looking great. The potatoes are almost there and the carrots are almost there, but we're still waiting. Okay, so I've just gotten the chicken out of the oven and it's ready, and I'm really happy with it because it is tender, it is juicy. I've flipped it over a couple times just so both sides are really moist. It smells lovely in here. And now I'm going to take out the potatoes and the carrots. Oh, here are our lovely carrots. Oh, so nice. And our potatoes. So if you remember, this is the spicy one and this is just the salty one for the children. So I am going to get the plate and start plating. So this one. And who doesn't like a lot of potatoes? Okay, so now for the final touch, we are going to add the parsley garlicky oil, and so let's do that now. So we're going to put that just a little bit on top of the chicken, and a little bit of that on the potatoes. I'm just going to dab the sides just a little bit to give it that fanciness. Yes, and we're just going to decorate with a little bit of parsley, and this is the final product. I hope you enjoy this with your family. I'm excited to dig in, and I want to do that now. With that said, until next time and next recipe, take care everyone. Bye-bye.